Hey everybody, welcome to this very special Christmas tutorial. And today we're going to be making a snow globe. I think it's a scene that fits it very well. There's going to be a lot of modeling, a lot of texture work, but there's also going to be a bit of node work. So if you want to learn a little bit about nodes and what they can do, stick around. That should probably be in I'm hoping to do this in under 4 parts. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be working on today. So in order to do that, we have to go right on over to Blender. And right away, I like to hit T to get rid of the toolbar, and I drag this down a little bit. So now we have a lot more working room. So first off, we're going to get rid of that by hitting X and add a plane. And now we have to hit Tab, and then E to extrude, and bring that down. And then hit S to size it up. And now you should have that. Go over to the modifiers panel and add a bevel. Just bring that up so the corners don't look as harsh. Wonderful. Don't apply it because then it'll actually make vertices and make the vertices where the vertices should be here. But if you keep that off, especially when you're rendering, it just saves you a lot of time. So be sure to keep that off unless you're actually using games. So now we need to add another plane. So Shift A, remember that. And we are going to add a subdivision surface. And now we're going to extrude that down. And now we need to size it a little bit. And we're going to hit Control R along this way, just to make it a lot more cylindrical. And if you were to do that with a cylinder, if you put subdivisions on a cylinder, just for whatever reason, it makes it look really weird, and it gives you this weird, like, slice and diced effect. It's really weird. So don't use a cylinder. Be sure to do it like that. And you notice you can see faces here. In order to get rid of those without having to bump up the subdivisions like crazy, if you hit T to bring up that toolbar again, you can click Smooth, and just now it looks a lot better. But now we do need to add a cylinder. So go ahead and add one. Right off the bat, just size it down and hit Tab, and we need to get rid of all these vertices. So holding Shift and then Alt, you can right-click on the line, and that selects the whole line. One sec, I'm just going to move mine up a little bit. Perfect. So select the middle one, and then Shift Alt, and you can get rid of all of them, and hit X, and then select vertices. So now you should have this cool looking thing. Damn, look at that. So just size it up, and now this is actually going to be the snow that will be hanging around the edges of the snow globe here. So extrude this, holding Shift Alt, extrude it down to about there. And now we need to start just selecting random vertices and pulling them down. And then when we add a solidify modifier and a subdivision surface to all this, it's just going to look like there's been snow kind of like draped over the edge. And it gives a really nice effect, because before I was testing and it was just kind of sitting on a wood panel. It didn't look very good. It looked really plain. You could see right through the wood to the bottom. It looked like this cheesy thing that you'd buy at the dollar store for like a 3-year-old. And I obviously wanted something better than that. So this is what I did. Wherever your view is going to be, try to put the most detail in there. Try to randomize it a bit. Okay. So you should have something like that. I'm just going to quickly check how much time. Cool. And let's minimize that. Okay. So now we need to first add a solidify modifier. And however thick you want your snow to be, this is what's going to affect that. So select that, don't apply it, and do a subdivision surface. And now it's going to make it go all... oops, let me move this. It's going to make it just kind of go all cakey looking, I guess. And I'm just going to move some vertices just so you can't see through the mesh. If that's happening anywhere. Yep, there's one. Okay, cool. So now you should have something like that. So that's going to look like there's some snow. And I found once you have subdivisions applied, if you smooth it, it looks a lot better than if you were to just apply the smooth modifier without a subdivision on. It makes the normals all flipped, and it's really weird. So yeah, be sure to try to avoid that. So we almost got the whole model done here. All that we need now is the ball that is where the snowman is going to be, and where we get to add that cool IOR effect. So add a UV sphere, and you're going to place it right where you want the snow globe ball to be. That should look just about right. We're going to add a subdivision surface, not apply it, hit T, and then smooth. And there you go. That's the whole snow globe layout that I had. If you're going to have a close-up of your snow globe, you might want to just put a little extra detail into areas like here and here, but for what we're doing, it'll be just fine, and I don't want this to be a 7-part tutorial like Ben Cogswell likes to make. He's the one that did the guitar tutorial. Okay, now we are done with that. Let's start making the snowman right after I check how much time. Perfect. All right, so let's start making the snowman. So hit Shift A, and we're going to add another UV sphere. Bring it on out to here. And now that you have that, you're just going to push Shift D, and then I'll duplicate it. Just bring it up, size it down. Shift D again, bring it up, size it down. Just play around with the size that you want. Okay, that should just do fine. Now we're going to do the same thing so they don't look as boxy. Just add one subdivision surface, and one subdivision surface. And now pushing T, you can smooth it, and smooth it. Wonderful. Now, I picture every snowman with a nice top hat, and that's what we're going to give him. So select the head, hit Shift S, and you can select cursor to selection, and that brings where objects appear once you add them to the object that you selected. So now we can, let's do a plane. Put the plane just to where you want it to be. Actually, you know what? Let's not use a plane. Let's use a cylinder. Add a cylinder. It's down so the hat isn't engulfing him. Just play around with the sizes until you think it looks right. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to get rid of this by hitting Shift, Alt, remember, and right-clicking, and get rid of those vertices. We don't want those. And now what we're going to do is we're going to Shift, Alt, extrude along the Z, extrude, and then hit S to size it up, and then extrude along the Z, bring it down, and then extrude, size them in. And I'm just going to bring this up a little bit because that looks like a really flat top hat. Perfect. Just place that down on his head. And hit T, and you can smooth it. And if it looks kind of awkward, just select everything, hit W, and then flip normals. If you have a lot of faces intertwining, you get these black spots. It's doesn't look very good. So let's give him arms. This is actually, oh, I forgot to mention this tutorial will have some curve modifiers in it. Not curve modifiers, a Bezier curve that will be using it. Anyway, going off topic here, let's go and add a curve, and it's going to be a Bezier. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Someone please give me the correct pronunciation if I'm saying it wrong. And holding Control, just rotate it along the Z by pushing R and then Z. So now it's straight, and then just size it along the X. Just make it basically the length that you want your arm to be. Okay. Now go over here because when you add a curve, this panel will pop up. You're going to want to click off, front and back, and bring the depth up, way up to it. We'll go with a 10, I want to say. Yeah, let's go with a 10 and just turn the resolution up. Oh, yeah, put it to about a 8. And now what we are going to want to do is we're going to want to add, just make it a little curvy. So by selecting everything by hitting A, just subdivide it maybe just a few times. And selecting the center vertice, just give them little twists along any axis that you really want, just to make it look less perfect. And here, hit Alt and then S to size it down. And now you should have this twig arm. And we're just going to Shift D that. We're just going to move it so it looks like he's got a little extra branch. It takes a bit of fiddling, so we do need to size that down considerably. And I think I'm just going to size this vertice down. Perfect. I'm just going to rotate that a little bit, bring it up. That should do fine. Now, just hit holding Shift, right select everything, and then hit Control J. And now they are one object. So you can just select the whole thing and they move together as one, just like that. And we're going to leave it just as one for now, because when we go into texturing, we could just Shift D that. And let's just check how much time we have left. We can do one more thing. Okay, we're going to have to hurry. So add a cylinder. Oh, shiz. A cylinder. Size that way down. Rotate it along the X. Hit 90. Size it down a lot. And this is actually going to be the nose and the face of our snowman. And don't be perfect like this. Don't go into a front view and try to add them as perfect as you can. I mean, we want it to make it look like this googly-eyed thing that, you know, that was just quickly put together. And make it black, just so when you Shift D them to make others, you won't have to add a separate material for it all the time. That would be ridiculous. Then we're gonna put a nose on him. And now we're just gonna add a nice mouth. And this is just by hitting Shift D and moving them. Now I know from a modeling perspective this would look kind of cheap, but you know what? For us, from the distance that it'll be looked at, it won't matter too much. Actually, I'm going to Shift D that and bring it over, because if you add a material, yeah, it'll look just fine. Rotate it a little bit just so they don't look exactly the same, you know, just they look a little bit different. And I'm just going to rotate a little Y. And there you go. There's the snowman. There's the globe. Next, we're going to look at the texturing, and then we'll look at the lighting. So thanks for watching part 1. Be sure to check out part 2. It's going to have a lot of good stuff in it. Thanks, guys. There we go.